beautiful soul. Welcome to the Quantum Business Queen podcast. This podcast is a vortex for activating wealth, riches, and boss bitches. It is here that I teach multi-dimensional business. Our content will fall under 3 different categories: 5D quantum creation, 4D frequency alchemy, and the most potent 3D strategy. Every aspect of business that contributes to the creation of success is covered here. Plus, I will be personally interviewing the most amazing boss bitches that are at the forefront of the game, paving the way for money, magic, and magnetism in business. Let's get ready to activate all of that within you. Hello, beautiful human. Welcome to this episode of the Quantum Business Queen podcast. I'm super stoked to be able to release this content to you this week because this is actually exclusive content from the Quantum Coach certification. I am going to be speaking to you about all the different layers of alignment. And that word alignment is thrown around so much. However, it is so dynamic and so quantum and so diverse. So understanding each layer of it is crucial in order for you to access quantum flow on major levels. So welcome to part 1 of layers of alignment. Without further ado, here it is. Okay. So I kind of like to do a little brief overview just to start kind of having this resonate within your cells again, to start expanding your cells to receive more information. Because remember, when you receive truth that's aligned with your soul based on quantum resonance, you know, there's a thing called quantum discernment. And ultimately, and we're going to get into this really deep in the manifestation week, which is, it's going to crack you wide open because it's going to reveal some truths that are just like insane. So, but what I want to really put the seed for now is this whole thing around quantum discernment. And that is basically when you receive information, information holds a frequency. Of course it does. Like you watch the news and dense information is being poured into your field if you accept those truths. Now, the thing is that you guys are light beings, and I was watching, oh my God, some really profound stuff last night on Gaia. It was one of the most recent episodes of, I forget the series, but I'll send it to you guys because you want to watch it. It's so amazing because they were talking about like our DNA and like in order to bring harmony in the universe, like there's these kind of, you know, clashes, they're forever having clashes between like the light and the dark, etc. And in order to bring harmony into the universe, they decided, like, one of the reasons why humans were kind of created was to be the child of both. And so it's like, okay, well, if we come together, so we have aspects, because this is the matrix that we play in. We play in the matrix of duality, the good, the bad, the light, the dark. You know, we're not judging either of these things as good or bad. I just say they're construction material, because you in this 3D reality, you need to have contrast to birth the light within you. You need to have experienced the bad to understand what it is that you actually want. I mean, Abraham talks about this all the time. When you go through contrast, that is what inspires you to shoot those rockets of desire. And so, but what happens is we get caught in judging the contrast. And I was having a session, or there was a session that was happening with the Octurians a few months ago. And they said, you know, higher dimensions experience contrast as well. It's not just all oneness in the higher dimensions. However, humans are the only ones that label contrast as bad. And so it's our judgment that keeps us hooking into the density, and then it creates this sort of downward spiral. I don't know where I was going with all of this. But anyway, quantum discernment. Quantum discernment is your ability to take information and take the frequency of the information and pull it into your field and experience the expansion in your field. And if you experience information, for example, maybe that I give you or that someone else gives you, and you feel how it expands your cells and makes you feel excited and like, holy shit, this is amazing, even though this may not make any logical sense or it goes against all of my programming, I want you to tune into that. Because that information, if that it feels like it's expanding you, it's actually in a resonance with your higher self truths. And this is how you get to choose what your truths are. based on how it expands you energetically. And when you feel expanded, when you feel lit up by information, what is literally happening is your cells are expanding to prepare to hold more light. And so remember, you guys all have the ability to quantumly discern and to choose your truth. This is how, again, you become the creator of your own reality. So I like to set you up to really receive these truths. Like, yes, you're receiving information on like a cognitive level, like you're receiving it's always information that you've always known, but we're reawakening information in your consciousness, so you have new awarenesses. But what is happening on a deeper level is we're actually expanding your cells to hold more light. And the more you can hold light and truth, the more you rise above all the density. But when you understand what humans are actually capable of, when you pull back the veils of suppression, it will absolutely rock your world and blow your mind. So please use your quantum discernment. If it does not expand your cells, it is not a resonance to your soul truth. You're not playing in the matrix. You're not playing that human game. This is your choice. You don't have to freaking ride the waves. You embrace your own soul's truth based on how that information expands your cells. When you expand cells, this is what happens. You become buoyant. You shoot straight up. Instead of being whipped around in the waves, you're hovering down looking at it, going, silly humans. You don't have to be down there. From a place of love, of course. So remember, you get to choose your truths. There are no truths, ultimately. We'll get into that topic later on. You get to choose your truths based on how it expands your cells. And if it's dense, you get to choose to unhook from it. This is how you become a deliberate creator on the most powerful level. Okay, so we talked about the layers of intention. What is driving your creation? Is it away from creation, meaning that you're motivated by fear and running far away from something? Or is it your intentional energy moving you towards something, like you're making an impact or service or shifting humanity, being on purpose? Like, you wake up and you're just so lit up by a cause or a mission. That's moving toward intentional energy. So you need to just look, like, really anchor into what is driving your intentional energy. What is driving your actions? Is it the need to move away from your reality, or is it the need to serve and shift and be in your mission? I was having a chat with one of the girls in the business academy because she put me onto the surrender experiment. I'm obsessing over that book. She was really in, like, moving away from creation energy. She was like, okay, Sarah, I'm just going to surrender. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put all these action pieces into place. And I'm like, love, you can't do it from that place. Your intentional energy right now is screaming, I do not like my current reality. And that is the motivation for why you think you need to do all of these things, because you are trying to move so far away from where you're currently at. So really sit in that energy and really be honest and open with yourself. Like, what is driving your need to change something within your reality? And so the hardest thing that you can do sometimes is to surrender to it, accept it. Stop telling yourself these negative stories about the things you're experiencing. You experience your reality through the meanings that you give it. So look clearly at the meanings that you're pegging onto things, because it's the meanings that you're not liking. It's not your actual reality. If you were to walk through, now this is a really potent exercise, if you were to walk through every aspect of your life through the eyes of a human who had nothing, through a human who was homeless, had no family, had no friends, had to search and scrimp for their basic survival needs like dry clothes, warmth, food, and water. If you were to walk through your own reality, through your own home, through your relationships, through the eyes of that person, they would peg such abundant meaning on every aspect of what you experience. But instead, we get caught up in the density and we start pegging and latching on to judgment and criticism and this and that. And all of a sudden, we've pegged, if you look at your own grid, look at your grid through the eyes of the meanings that you've pegged into each aspect of your reality. And those meanings are sending a resonance out into the neutral energetic field. And so look at that with just a clear filter and start changing that, because that will allow you to accept your reality, and that will allow your perceived undesirable situations to move straight through and for you to shift into something new. But when you keep poking and judging and pegging meanings, you're continuously activating those frequencies and perpetuating those frequencies, which then you're in this place of needing to be in the move away creation energy, but it's just the wrong intentional energy to create something new from the purity of your source consciousness, because you're working against everything else, if that makes sense. Okay. So remember the energy of abundance. Abundance, you are it all. You have it all. You want for nothing. This is how you become magnetic. And so if you feel in lack, look at the meanings again. I stopped pegging meanings on how my bank account would fluctuate because I didn't like riding that roller coaster. I didn't like riding it at all. So I hopped off it. That's my choice. And now I don't worry about it. And it's funny because now, this is back in the day where I was just kind of stabilizing my business. Like, woo, we'd have an awesome month and woo, it'd be, and then you'd spend heaps of money in your business or whatever, and I never made that mean if my bank account went up or down. And this is one of the things that triggers people, which is why I'm talking about it. I never made it mean that I was not abundant if my bank account was lower in a month or whatever. I never made it mean anything. So Tina wants an example of how this person in the Business Academy was in the wrong energy. Yeah, she was in this place of seeking, searching, trying to figure out why things weren't working, like worried all the time. And it's like, this was creating motivation. It's great. Create motivation for change, but create it from a place of full acceptance of everything that is, not resisting what is, and not pegging judgment around. I don't like this. This hasn't worked out. This person's doing this. And now I'm going to use this like dense energetic like frequency through that I'm experiencing for energy to create something different. What you need to do is look at these things. So for example, this person feeling in scarcity, not liking situations, not liking what's going on with people around her. It was just like, this, energy, I need to use this energy for change. You need to use this energy to discover how you peg meanings onto things, what you make those things mean automatically, because that meaning is insight to your programming. Those programs won't discriminate. So if you have similar situations pop up, you're going to grab that meaning that you've pegged onto that situation and then plug it straight into the other situation. Well, what happens is the meanings hold the frequency resonance, and the frequency resonance is what is communicating to the universe in the neutral energetic field. And so this is why I said to her, girl, as long as you have all of these dense meanings plugged into your current reality, this never works out for me. I'm always in lack. This is always happening, blah, 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 story after story. You're going to continuously perpetuate those certain frequencies, but maybe in a different experience. So maybe she works her ass off. And the other thing is as well is that you'll find that if you don't have the right intentional energy, meaning you're using negativity as a driving force, you will have to use your will, aka action, to create, which is a way you can create. There's two different ways you can manifest: through sheer will, grit, and action. People do that, or through aligning with the right energetic intentional energy, aka co-creating with your soul and your energetic vortex. So this girl was like, surrender experiment, wants to do all this stuff in this surrender experiment, which is great, but she couldn't because she was holding a totally contradictory energy and intentional energy. She wasn't surrendering at all. She was pushing up against everything she didn't like in her reality. She wasn't surrendering to her reality. Surrendering is acceptance. When you accept what is, you release all the density and the meanings. You release all the judgment that you've tagged onto your current reality. That's true surrender. True surrender is acceptance of what is. You unplug the meanings. Okay, yep. And it's not to say you have to love it. It's just accepting it. Both energies do work. I have worked in 10 years. I worked in corporate where I was hustling my ass off. There was a point when I shifted my energy. Yeah, this is what holds the majority of humanity back. I always say this. We are programmed to work against ourselves. Very clever, by the way. Very clever, because in our our ego is programmed to navigate our physicality only. We're not programmed to understand how energy works. And we are energetic beings. We are meant to create through frequency. So in the physical world, if we push against something, it moves further away from us. And so what happens is we keep pushing against the things that we don't like, thinking that it's going to be moving further away from us. But that's not what happens with energy. You poke at it, it's going to keep reactivating it. So this is why accepting and surrendering to what is will allow it to move through. Because you're not reactivating it or poking it anymore, labeling it with judgment, frustration. And, Elizabeth, she said this even, she was like, human existence is total, it's just irony. Our whole experience is just so ironic. She's teaching people about who we are, similar to kind of the stuff I talk about as energetic creators, multidimensional beings. And it's fighting against this suppression in the matrix. It's but that's what's perpetuating it. Stop fighting. Stop judging. Stop poking. You will continuously perpetuate those timelines and continuously activate that in your current reality. We are not programmed again to think that way, because in our 3D world, if you want something, you fight for it. If you want a victory, you got to fight. But you're going to activate dense frequencies through your need to fight for something.
We interrupt this awesome podcast episode to tell you about my life-changing Quantum Business Academy. If you are ready to take your business to the next levels of abundance and freedom, then you're definitely going to want to hear more. Please don't take my word for it though. Here is one of our alumni sharing their experience.
Hi everyone, I'm Bianca and my business is State of Mind Therapies. I wanted to speak to you today about the quantum coaching certification. It has absolutely helped me both personally and professionally, and that's exactly what I wanted when I was thinking about signing up for it. So what I loved about the quantum coaching certification was that you can't do this qualification without going through your own layers and going through your own healing, okay? And then by going through that process, after you've used these techniques on yourself, you can absolutely then use them on your clients, which is exactly what I was doing. So I was learning techniques, and once I felt really comfortable at mastering them, and once I felt really comfortable at doing them on myself as well and going through my own healing and my own layers, then I was literally grabbing some of Sarah's techniques and using them on my clients in my business. And I was amazed at the shifts the clients were having and how effective her techniques are. It's another way of looking at energy healing. So if you're considering it, I think you will absolutely love it. The way she structures it is very, very accessible. So it's self-paced. She releases videos once a week, or she releases content, videos, worksheets once a week. I would literally just be so excited every week on the day that she would release that content, and I would binge watch it and get through it in a day. But you don't have to. You could absolutely do it at your own pace. So it was lots and lots of fun. Definitely a journey that I have absolutely loved. And this certification has definitely helped me in my business and how I serve my clients. I hope this has been helpful, guys. Thank you.
If you want to know more, then please head over to my show notes, book a call with me, or you can message me in DMs. Now let's get back to the podcast.
Fight against something. Fight against the matrix. Have judgment and labels against all the density in the matrix. I must fight for it. The Octurian said the real revolutionaries of our times are the ones that just stand in light and hold their light amongst all this crazy chaos. That's your only job that you need to do. Hold your sovereignty, choose what your truths are through quantum discernment, and allow your cells to hold as much light as possible, because you will influence the collective and the timeline shifts through quantum entanglement. Your energy, literally, it's like a network. You will radiate your light through the network, the quantum network, through holding your quantum truths. And you will become more buoyant. And the more buoyant you become, the less connected into the density of the matrix that you will be. Surrender. People are feeling like they don't care. Yes, Surrender to all of it. Yes, Tina. Isn't it a relief, by the way? You don't have to carry that. Please don't. This is how you take back power and control. And by the way, you are in full control. You are always in control. You are a deliberate creator. There's nothing that can hold you back from creating anything. No external circumstances. Nothing. When you hold light, you will rise above all of it. Spoke about yes, no, maybe. That's really potent for clearing out energetic clutter in your field to invite newness in. Yes, no, maybes. Do this with the meanings that you give things. If you feel dense about something, it's only because you plugged a meaning into it. You've connected a story to it. And maybe it's a story because of something you've been through in your past and you're super justified in your story. But this is what's causing you to have the anchors that are keeping you not from being buoyant. It's keeping you whipped around in the ocean. So remember that. Light or heavy. So does something feel light or heavy? So yes, we spoke about this, but remember that sometimes lightness can be paired with anxiety. So we don't want to confuse that because sometimes aligned decisions are very scary because the ego has to be in the wormhole of the unknown. But the more you can build that muscle, the more you're going to be able to transcend the current limitations of your physical reality. Honestly, this is the biggest thing for me. I've had a couple of people ask me, like, what's the biggest thing that's turned the dial in my business or et cetera, et cetera. It's my ability to do that. To like, look at my physical reality, even though there's no bloody way I should be doing something, but I have my inner knowing of I need to, and then I do it. But we're programmed to be in the evidence distortion. We're programmed to look for the evidence of, okay, do I have permission? Physical reality, do I have permission to do this based on the evidence of what I have for me physically? And then that's how people base their decisions, and that's how people stay very limited. It's so interesting how light can bring up anxiety and heavy can bring depression. Yeah. Woo. Can you feel that? That's potent, Candace. Yep. And then we spoke about the justification hooks. We will justify our need to be in density. I did a post one time. I have this girl. I love her to death in the business academy. And like, I love her. Like, she's always challenging things. And I love that so much, but she was challenging this kind of distortion and and what about this? And but I'm like, girl, I'm happy for you to justify all day long. If you want to, there's gotta become a time where you're going to stop defending your distortions. There's got to be a time. Stop fighting for your distortions. I know they feel so justified, but what do they perpetuate? And the problem is sometimes we feel so justified in our distortions, and also we become addicted to them because our dominant thoughts are rewarded with dopamine. And so not only are we like, oh, justice for the things I have been through and the way I feel without diminishing, obviously, anything you've been through, but I'm addicted to them. And also beyond that, there might be some secondary gain in there, meaning that you are actually gaining something from being in that distortion. Maybe it's sympathy. Maybe it's, I don't know, whatever it is. So you got to see how these can kind of hook in on different levels. But once you see it, then you're in this place of choosing. And it's not always going to be easy. Okay. The most powerful thing you could ever ask yourself, does this story match my highest timeline of abundance and freedom? My highest self? It's black and white, my friends. It's a yes or a no. And then you can start reverse engineering that. If it's a no, but it feels so justified, well, why does it feel justified? What meaning? What wound do I need to heal? What do I need to release? Who do I need to forgive? What do I need to surrender to? And let it all pour out. It's a powerful one. Okay. Now, this is really important because, you have to understand your values and upholding your, who you are as a human. This is so important, especially when it comes to like business. So important. I really value in business, number one, well, I can't order them actually, but these are not in any particular order, but number one, connection. Number two, generosity. I just like to give. And number three is just alignment. the whole path to freedom is understanding that all of the layers, all of the depths of alignment, and choosing always based on that. And also abundance. So service, gosh, there's a lot. Service is a big one. Service is such an important frequency to activate. When you put your intentional energy of serving, like how can I serve? What do people need from me today? How can I give? How can I connect? This is how you become like so insanely magnetic. It's like the souls like tune into your energy and see that you're aligned with integrity. People will be brought to you from nowhere. So understand your values. Understand what they are. Understand what you want to radiate. So when you understand your values, you understand what you get to say no to as well. This helps you establish your boundaries, which will keep you in alignment. If you don't know your values, you don't know what you get to say no to. This gives me truth bumps. Yay! And if you don't know what you get to say no to, you don't have the infrastructure of alignment. The infrastructure of alignment are boundaries, are knowing when you say no because this isn't aligned to A, B, C, D, E, F, G of your value system. Your biggest priority in your life is alignment, upholding your frequency, upholding your values and your integrity. Now, we're going to explain 2 other aspects of alignment, and then we'll do Q&A. Now, this is a really funny one. I just used so many examples of people in the Business Academy. So all of what we spoke about leads to this. Okay. So I did a whole webinar actually on this. I think it's on my website. It's a free webinar. So this is something I learned about, like, how we are energetic beings and how we have the law of attraction and how we actually attract things into our reality. What most people don't realize is there are actually 2 points of attraction. So we have a point of attraction here, which is our higher self. And we actually have a point of attraction here, which is our human self. And the really interesting thing and where people get caught up is there's a massive contradiction in these 2 points of attraction. Where it's like, here's an example of this. Your human self is like wanting to make heaps of money, wanting to call lots of, clients. I'm just like thinking of people that are in business, wanting to call in lots of clients in because maybe you feel lack, wanting to have things because you need to be worthy. So you need external verification. What's the word I'm looking for? So this is like the intentional energy of your potential human self. Validation, I think, is the word. So the human self is want to fill all of these little things that you think is missing within you, to where your higher self knows it's already all of that. And it just wants to expand its experience from a place of, I don't need anything. I don't need validation. I don't need abundance. I just need evolution and experience. And so what you have happening are the 2 attraction point intentional energies totally contradicting. And when you have attraction points contradicting in your field, you have this back and forthing with your frequency. It's like you're tug-of-warring yourself. Tug-of-warring. So here's an example of this. I had a girl in the Business Academy, and this is actually funny because I look back on my journey. When I was a one-on-one practitioner working with people one-on-one, I was never booked out. That whole concept baffled me in a way because it's like, I actually don't want to be booked out. I don't want my schedule full of people where it's like, that's my life. It's like, but people want that because that's the validation. That's where they think the money is. That's that, all of this stuff or whatever. It's like, ooh, that person's booked out. They must be amazing. But there was something in me going, you don't actually want that, Sarah. You're saying that you want that, but you haven't, there's a heaviness in your gut when you say that. And so I thought, ooh, there's a weird misalignment in this. And so I was having a conversation with one of the girls in Business Academy, and she was saying a similar thing. And I was like, love, your higher self wants you to create this abundant program where you're calling in groups of people, where you're serving like we do here, where it's like more one to many. You're speaking your truth. You're helping people. You're serving. You're making a powerful impact. And you're doing it once a week. and it's all abundant and everything you've ever wanted. Stuff the booked out thing. Your higher self knows what true abundance is to your human, but your human self thinks it needs to be validated. It thinks it knows the how. It's the only way they see the abundance is this. How. When it's totally misaligned to what your higher self knows is the truth. And so what happens is you have two attraction points that are totally contradicting each other. It's like you're being pulled in two separate directions. So this is where the surrender experiment is super freaking powerful. Sometimes we just need to say, I surrender what I think it is that I need. I surrender what I think it is that I want. I surrender all of it. And I just align with my values. I'm here to serve. I'm here to be abundant. I'm here to connect. I'm here to shift. And then higher self, you show me what that needs to look like. This is how you align those two energies. This is why Michael L. Singer went from being kind of a broke Buddhist. I don't know if he would ever officially say he's Buddhist, but you know what I mean? He loved meditating, to owning $1 billion company. It was all synchronicities. He never planned for any of that. He just totally surrendered to his higher self. His only purpose in life was to anchor into his peace within. And his soul team, galactic team, higher self team, whatever it was, orchestrated the whole thing. But we're too busy thinking we know what our human needs and wants and trying to fill in these external, all these internal holes with this external validation, that we are fighting against what our higher self already knows. And so it's just constant back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Let go of what you think you want. Let go of what you think you need. Let go of what you think the path looks like. Let go of how you think it needs to go and how it needs to be, and align with your higher self intentional energy. And this is like the surrender experiment all wrapped up in one concept. Truth bumps, full body tingles. Yes. Quantum discernment, my friends. But instead we cling on to like the human needs, but it's keeping us trapped. It's hard. It's a scary thing. But when you can release everything, because I always kind of play these mental constructs with, like, I always have these conversations with myself. Well, what if this happens? Like, what if that happens? Blah, 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 blah. What if, and then I get to the point of, what if we ever lose everything? And then she's like, well, this is going to be an adventure then. Do you know what I mean? I just totally surrender. I have no need to cling on to anything. I just am in total surrender all the time, where I can just be a vessel of how the universe wants me to serve. When you are in this place, this is where you receive all the divine droplets, because your portal is so freaking clear. But when you think you need to control and your human self is out of alignment with your higher self, you cut yourself off again from that. Because you're clinging to all these things, looking everywhere and not tuned in and not fully surrendered. Does this make sense? Yeah. So you see, when someone throws the term of alignment around, it's like, you have no idea. There is so much to alignment. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Thank you so much for listening today, beautiful soul. I hope you got so much gold and were activated in such a way that you could step into your highest timeline of abundance and freedom, because it is more than possible for you. If that desire has been planted in your soul, it is so deliberate. If you wouldn't mind, please rate, review, subscribe to this podcast so that we can get this message into the hearts and ears of more amazing light beings across the world. I would love to continue this conversation with you, so feel free to get in touch on Instagram at sarah.tynan.quantumcoach. If you're a Facebook person, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Sarah Tynan International. And please don't ever forget, if your desire is there, it's because your destiny is there too. You just have to remember who you are. Bye for now, beautiful.